I never imagined my life would turn into a nightmare wrapped in diamonds and designer suits. My name is Elena, and 3 years ago, I stood in my father's office, watching him beg on his knees. "The company is finished," he whispered, tears in his eyes. "The only way to save everything is for you to marry Alexander Voss." Alexander Voss, the man the entire business world feared. They called him the devil. CEO, ruthless, cold, a heartless billionaire who destroyed competitors without blinking. His name alone made people tremble. I was only 24, full of dreams and hope for a loving future. Instead, I became the price of my family's survival. The wedding was extravagant, yet felt like a funeral. I walked down the aisle in a breathtaking white gown, but my hands were ice cold. Alexander stood tall in his tailored black tuxedo, his sharp jaw clenched, his dark eyes staring straight ahead as if I were invisible. When the officiant asked if he took me as his wife, his voice was flat and emotionless. "I do." That night, in his luxurious penthouse overlooking the city, he looked at me with those piercing eyes and said, "This marriage is a contract. Stay out of my life and I'll stay out of yours." Then he walked away, leaving me alone in a guest room that felt like a prison. I cried silently into the pillow, my heart shattering. How had my world collapsed so quickly? I was trapped with a man who saw me as nothing more than a business transaction. But what I didn't know back then was that the heartless devil I married had been hiding a secret far deeper than anyone could imagine. The first year of our marriage was pure emotional torture. Alexander treated me like I didn't exist. He left for the office before sunrise and returned long after midnight. We never shared meals. We never had real conversations. At public events, he would place his hand lightly on my back for appearances, then immediately pull away as if touching me burned him. The whispers followed me everywhere. "She's just a pawn in his empire. He only married her to absorb her father's company." Poor girl. Married to the devil himself. Every night I lay awake in that cold guest room, feeling invisible and unwanted. I tried so hard to reach him. I prepared his favorite coffee exactly how he liked it. I kept the penthouse warm and welcoming. Once, I even waited up until 2 a.m. just to ask how his day was. He barely glanced at me and replied, "You don't need to pretend. Elena, this isn't a real marriage." His words cut deeper than any knife. I felt worthless, broken, and completely alone. I started questioning everything: my worth, my future, even my own family. Later, I discovered the painful truth. My father hadn't just been in financial trouble. He had made dangerous, unethical deals that hurt many people. Alexander knew every detail and could have destroyed my family in a single press conference. Instead, he chose this forced marriage as his silent revenge. I was drowning in betrayal from all sides. My own blood had sold me. The man I was bound to saw me as punishment. I stopped smiling. I stopped hoping. I became a quiet shadow moving through his massive home, my spirit slowly fading. I remember one stormy evening when I finally broke. I confronted him in his study, voice shaking. "Why do you hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve this coldness?" He looked up, his expression unreadable. "Hate you?" he said with a bitter edge. "You have no idea what this really is." Then he turned back to his work, leaving me standing there with fresh tears burning my eyes. I had never felt more shattered. Everything changed on a rainy night I'll never forget. Was reading alone in the living room when Alexander burst through the door. Drenched from the storm, his usual icy composure completely gone. His eyes, those dark, unfeeling eyes, were filled with raw emotion for the first time. He walked straight to me, breathing heavily. "Elena, I can't keep doing this." My heart raced. "Doing what?" "Ignoring me? Treating me like I'm nothing?" He stepped closer, his voice low and trembling. "Pretending I don't love you?" The words hit me like thunder. He pulled out an old, worn notebook from his coat. "I've carried this for years, since the first time I saw you at your father's gala when you were just 20. You were laughing under the lights, so full of life. I told myself it was foolish, but I never stopped thinking about you. When your father's company started collapsing, because of his own greed and mistakes, I stepped in quietly, not to destroy you, but to protect you from the fallout he created." Tears streamed down my face as he continued, his voice cracking. "I made the marriage cold and distant on purpose. I pushed you away because I was terrified. Terrified that if I let you see the real me, you would reject the man who had loved you silently for so long while building this empire. Every time I heard you crying at night, it tore me apart inside. But I didn't know how to fix what I had broken." He gently took my hands in his. "I never hated you, Elena. I loved you more than I knew how to show. And I was a complete fool for hiding it behind this devil mask. In that moment, all the pain, the silence, and the loneliness began to melt away. Over the following months, Alexander slowly let down his walls. He came home early. He held me when I needed comfort. He listened to my fears about my family's betrayal. And I began to heal, truly heal. When my father later tried to manipulate our marriage for more financial gain, Alexander stepped forward with calm strength. He exposed the unethical deals, but he protected my name and showed measured mercy because I asked him to. My family lost control of the company, yet they weren't completely destroyed because of him. And because of the love he had hidden for years. Today, the man the world still calls the heartless devil CEO is my greatest protector, my safe haven, and the one who loved me beyond life itself long before I ever knew. Looking back, I've learned something profound. Sometimes the coldest hearts carry the deepest love. Betrayal can break you into pieces, but the truth, when it finally comes, can put you back together in ways you never expected. If you're going through your own season of pain, forced choices, or hidden heartbreak, hold on. The person who seems the most unreachable might be the one who has been loving you the longest. Never stop believing that real love can emerge from the darkest places. Stay strong. Trust the journey, and remember, sometimes the devil you fear is actually the angel you've been waiting for.